Hello and welcome to the 101st episode of the Cultivating Calmness Podcast. Thank you for joining me today, and if you have seen any of my other episodes, thank you for checking in with all of those with me. Today I just want to talk a little bit about this episode and I guess this milestone. I didn't even realize that we were already here until we had already passed 100, and we are at 101. And it is a feat, to say the least. That means I have been doing these podcasts for about 2 years, a little over 2 years. I try to do one a week. We have probably missed an episode here or there. So that puts us at about 2 years, give or take. And there's a lot that's been said, a lot that I've talked about, and a lot that I maybe hope to be able to do with this platform. When I initially started it, this podcast was just a way to kind of talk to people, get my name out there, share information, and I think we're still on the small side of things, which is totally fine. And oftentimes, I feel like I'm talking to no one. And again, that's fine. This is definitely something to get used to. I have in the last year started implementing and doing podcasts more of like an interview style. So I have talked with several people so far that I have had at my mental health professional luncheons. And we have had them in and we've just had a conversation about what they talked about in their presentation to the mental health professionals that come to my luncheon. And in the future, I'd love to be able to talk to people that I haven't had at one of my luncheons, just to talk about mental health related topics, about holistic health, and kind of the world that we live in. Those are things that really resonate with me. The holistic lifestyle, functional health, that realm is something that's really important to me. And obviously therapy is really important to me. That is my day job. And so combining the two is often something that I like to bring to you, the viewer, the listener. So if you have been with me and listened to any of my podcasts, I like to cover a wide variety of information. I always try to bring things back to mental health because that's primarily what I do. But over the years, from the start of my career, where I, obviously started it with an internship and then with a job at an inpatient hospital, to today, private practice, my personal life, and the way I view the world has changed and shifted greatly from the way I thought and the way I viewed the world, in the beginning to where I am now. So that has shown in my practice, that shows in the things that I like to do. And I hope to be able to continue that and to grow my practice and to share more information. As I get more confident with information, I hope to share that with you, the viewer. And it's just really, I don't know, it feels a little weird. Talking about how I've done, 101 of these now. This episode today is the 101st episode, and to cover so many different things and to be able to sum that up in a single episode, I definitely can't do it. But just to say that when you think about tasks that you have done, the things that you have driven to, strive to do. And when you get to that 100 mark, can seem like a really big deal, really big feat. And I think that's where I am today. This is, being in front of the camera isn't something that really makes me feel great. It often feels kind of awkward. So if you're out there and you're thinking about doing this, I think it's just one of those things. I just do it and hope for the best. And I try to not have a script when I talk, and just kind of go with what comes to mind sometimes with those more sciencey and detailed episodes where I'm sharing a lot of information. I do have some notes because I don't know everything, and I often will know enough of something to be able to talk a little bit about it, but not enough to be able to talk in depth on a certain subject or to give you all the minute details about a certain subject. So, I may come with notes. I used to try to hide my notes. I couldn't be referencing any of those things, but I don't really feel like I need to do that on here because I think you would rather hopefully have the correct information than incorrect information, because I didn't want to look at a piece of paper or something like that. So I think that being on a podcast can be daunting, and it has been. It's much more fun for me to have a conversation with somebody. It's much more fun for me to not have to, you know, share all the minute details, although I think that's important. I do better when it's more off the cuff and being able to talk about what I think or feel about something. And so I hope to be able to do some more of those types of things in the future. Something that's not part of my podcast that I often, that I also do as well, is I do a therapy book Thursday, like a live book reading for children's books. So that is typically every Thursday of the year. There will be a few here and there that I don't do because of a holiday or something like that. And I just read children's books. They started off being mostly what I would call therapeutic, meaning they were very highly connected to some kind of therapy theme. I think I really started off with grief books, so grief specific children's books, and then into feeling related things and emotions. And I've moved into different scenarios and just anything that can be helpful. And often children's books are helpful to kids in some way. They're educational in some way, and they can help kids to grow and to learn and understand difficult subjects from the lens of a child. So if you haven't seen those and you have kids, or you work with kids, or you have kids that you think could benefit, I do have that. Oh, excuse me, almost sneezed. That I do have that available on YouTube, and you can watch those videos. And often, or sometimes when I am unavailable and I am not home at night, my husband has shown our kids those videos, so they get, books read for me when I'm not home, because they are all out there on the internet, and you were able to see them. And I just like to be able to do that. So a lot of my books I will get from the library. I will kind of check them out, see what looks good. Books that I haven't had before. Oftentimes I will find authors that have multiple books, and I will read a bunch of them. Sometimes they'll be one after the other on the calendar. Sometimes I will try to mix them up so they're not all back to back. So I have done that with a decent amount of series of books with certain authors because I just like them and I end up liking them all. And so I try to read a lot of them because they're all great. So that's something you can check out. That's something that I also do. I also host mental health professionals luncheons. Those are usually currently on the third Thursday of every month. I host them because I want to build community. I want to, network with people. I want to be able to talk with other clinicians, whether they're licensed clinicians or whether they are mental health advocates or people who work with people who may have mental health stuff going on. I love for all those people to come and learn from each other. And we have had some really interesting topics over the last 2.5 years. I think we're in year 3 now, if I remember correctly. So I started this shortly after starting my private practice because I wanted to engage people. I wanted to bring people in and have something that brought people together and to be able to talk, because whether you're in a private practice that has a lot of clinicians or whether you're in a private practice like me where it's just me and I have another colleague in my office with me, when we're doing therapy, we're doing therapy. And when we're not, we're doing notes or doing other things, or we're not here. So it can be kind of isolating and lonely. So having other people to talk with is a good thing and it's enjoyable. And that's really why I host these luncheons. I actually I guess, got the idea from another luncheon that I go to that was for mental health professionals. And that one is hosted for and mostly by like addiction counseling. There's a lot of addiction facilities and agencies and companies that go to that, as well as other mental health resources attend that. And I tended to be one of the only like private practice mental health clinicians that would go. And so I thought this would be great if I could do something like this, but for the private practice type clinician, and be able to offer CEUs. So that is something else that I offer the community that is not specifically related to like counseling and seeing clients. I am also involved in the Central Ohio Counseling Association. I am the official president of COCA, Central Ohio Counseling Association, which is a branch of the Ohio Counselors Association this year. So we are getting things off the ground, continuing with events for Central Ohio. So we host coffee and consultation on a bi-monthly basis. Our next one will be in October. And then we're currently aiming to host monthly like social gatherings. So that is not clinical in any way. It's you show up and come to just hang out with other clinicians. You don't have to be a counselor. I have invited other friends and colleagues who are not counselors, who are not members of the OCA or COCA, because it's really just a good time to get together, chat, hang out, and do something fun with other people who do similar things to you. And we're trying to host those once a month. And the All Ohio Counselors Conference will be at the end of October. So we are preparing for that. And a really cool thing that's going to be happening here in Columbus, at least for counselors, is the American Counseling Association. So that would be like above the OCA, or ACA, OCA, and then COCA. The ACA, American Counseling Association Conference, is going to be in Columbus this year. They still haven't announced where. I'm assuming it's going to be down at the convention center downtown. Don't know that for certain, but we are really excited to have that conference coming to not only Ohio, but Columbus, Ohio. And so then I don't have to travel very far, and I don't have to do all that extra stuff, but would love to have you, if you're a counselor, attend that. Would love to see you at COCA events and or my luncheons, anything like that. I would love to meet you. Feel free to reach out to me, connect with me. Always trying to meet new counselors in the area and make connections, whether that's for referrals or just friendly banter and get-togethers. These 100 sessions in review have covered many topics. I've talked about these things that I just shared, and I hope to continue to cover these things. I will often, sometimes come into these sessions not quite, these podcasts, I guess, not really quite knowing what I want to talk about. And I'll take things from maybe themes or things that I'm hearing from my clients, especially if I'm hearing it over and over again, or something just seems to be in the water, where it's like, this has come up multiple times in the last couple weeks. I'm probably going to talk about it here. And so sometimes that means I've probably hit certain topics a couple of different times. Hopefully I've hit them in a couple of different ways. Or as I get more confident, as I get better at doing this, I will cover some of these topics again. And hopefully, you are out there listening and reaching out if you have topics you want to hear, or things that, hey, if I got something wrong, I definitely want to know about it so that I don't do it wrong again. I know I make mistakes. I am not perfect by any means, and always willing to learn and do new things in whatever it is. So I just wanted to kind of share our celebration with you today for our 101st episode of the Cultivating Calmness podcast. I thank you for joining us. For however many you have listened to or watched. Thank you for being here with me and supporting me and continuing to support me. I will look forward to doing 101 more in the next 2 years. Thank you again. I'll see you again next week. Have a wonderful rest of your week.